Did you know that over the last few decades, the number of severe hurricanes has increased dramatically? Scientists have observed a significant rise in the number of Category 4 and 5 hurricanes, the most destructive types, due to warming ocean temperatures. With this increase in frequency and intensity, it's natural to ask, what does the Bible say about such powerful forces of nature? Hurricanes are some of the most powerful forces on Earth, capable of causing widespread destruction through fierce winds, torrential rains, and massive flooding. These storms impact thousands of lives each year, with the economic damage often reaching billions of dollars. But is there more to these storms than just scientific explanations? What if hurricanes also speak to a deeper truth found in the Bible? From a scientific perspective, hurricanes are well-understood phenomena. They begin as tropical disturbances, which are clusters of thunderstorms over warm ocean waters. As the warm air rises from the ocean surface, it creates an area of low pressure. More air rushes in to replace it, and the Earth's rotation causes the air to spiral. But while science explains how hurricanes form, it doesn't answer the deeper questions about why natural disasters occur. For that, many people turn to the Bible. Hurricanes present enormous challenges: loss of life, the destruction of homes, and the displacement of entire communities. But they often bring with them other natural disasters like tornadoes, mudslides, and floods. With climate change intensifying these storms, many are left questioning why such disasters happen. In the Bible, natural disasters have often been seen as part of God's plan, sometimes as reminders of His power, as seen in the story of Noah, or as tests of faith during times of suffering, as seen in the story of Job. The story of Noah's Ark, in Genesis chapters 6 through 9, recounts how God used a flood to cleanse the earth of its corruption. God warns Noah to build an ark and save his family, along with pairs of every animal. The flood is not just a physical event, but a spiritual one, symbolizing judgment, renewal, and the opportunity for a fresh start. Hurricanes, like the Great Flood, often cause people to pause and consider the bigger picture. Could these natural events be moments that invite us to reflect on our faith, our relationship with God, and the fragility of life on Earth? The Bible contains numerous references to storms and natural disasters as demonstrations of God's power over creation. One of the most well-known examples is when Jesus calmed the storm in Mark 4:39. As his disciples were caught in a fierce storm on the Sea of Galilee, they were filled with fear and asked Jesus, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" In response, Jesus stood up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Peace, be still." And the wind died down and the sea became completely calm. This story is not just about physical storms, but also serves as a reminder that Jesus has the authority to bring peace to the storms in our lives, both physical and spiritual. Similarly, hurricanes often bring with them tornadoes, powerful, destructive columns of rotating winds. Tornadoes form when wind shear, or changes in wind direction and speed, occurs in the storm's outer bands. These tornadoes can be just as destructive as the hurricane itself, adding yet another layer of danger. Tornadoes are mentioned in the Bible metaphorically, as whirlwinds or storms that symbolize God's judgment or power, as in Job 38:1, where God answers Job out of the whirlwind. But tornadoes aren't the only secondary disasters caused by hurricanes. Mudslides, also called landslides, can occur when the ground becomes oversaturated with water from heavy rains. The sheer weight of the water can cause soil, rocks, and vegetation to slide down hillsides, often with devastating consequences. In many cases, mudslides destroy homes and block roads, trapping people in dangerous situations. These landslides serve as a physical reminder of Jesus' teaching in Matthew 7:24-27, where he speaks about the importance of building our lives on a solid foundation. Just as houses built on sand can be swept away, so can our lives if they are not grounded in God's truth. Flooding is perhaps the most dangerous consequence of hurricanes, with the potential to submerge entire towns and cities. As hurricanes move inland, their intense rainfall can cause rivers to overflow, drainage systems to back up, and coastal areas to flood. The Bible often uses floods as symbols of overwhelming challenges or judgment, but also as opportunities for renewal and transformation. One of the most powerful verses that speaks to this is Isaiah 43:2, which says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you." This verse offers comfort, reminding us that no matter how high the waters rise, whether literal or metaphorical, God is with us. Now let's take a closer look at how hurricanes form. A hurricane begins as a tropical disturbance over warm ocean waters. The sun heats the surface of the ocean, causing water to evaporate. This warm, moist air rises, creating a low-pressure system. As the warm air rises, it cools and condenses into clouds. Meanwhile, more warm air from the surrounding area rushes in to take its place, causing winds to circulate. Due to the Earth's rotation, these winds begin to spin in a counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere, forming a tropical storm. As the storm continues to gather strength, it becomes a hurricane once sustained wind speeds reach 74 miles per hour. At the center of the storm is the eye, a calm area surrounded by the storm's most violent winds, known as the eye wall. The eye of the hurricane symbolizes the peace that can be found in God, even in the midst of chaos. Just as the eye of a hurricane is a calm space in the middle of raging winds, so too can we find peace in God's presence during life's most difficult moments. Psalm 107:29 tells us, "He stilled the storm to a whisper. The waves of the sea were hushed." This is a beautiful reminder that no matter the storm we are facing, whether a literal hurricane or the challenges in our lives, God has the power to calm it. But why do hurricanes seem to be getting stronger and more frequent? Scientists point to rising sea temperatures as a major factor. Warmer oceans provide more fuel for hurricanes, allowing them to grow larger and more powerful. This is why we are seeing an increase in Category 4 and 5 hurricanes in recent years. As humans continue to impact the climate, the Bible reminds us in Romans 8:22 that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. This verse suggests that the natural world is also suffering as a result of human sin and brokenness, pointing us to the hope of restoration through God. Hurricanes, tornadoes, mudslides, and floods. These are all powerful forces of nature, explained by science yet full of deeper spiritual meaning. Through stories like Jesus calming the storm and Noah surviving the flood, we see that these natural events can remind us of both the power of creation and the peace that comes from trusting in God. In the end, hurricanes remind us of the fragility of life and the importance of building our spiritual foundation on the rock that is Christ. What do you think about the connection between hurricanes, other natural disasters, and faith? Do you believe these events carry spiritual significance? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out another video on how other natural events tie into biblical teachings. Let's keep the conversation going.